at the best of his level. So I felt that went hand in hand.
So you never feel fear or intimidation by somebody of.
No, for sure not. That's one. I think that's one of my greatest strengths is that I don't look at opponents too much and don't feel fear or intimidated by
Mhm.
anyone in the
How
sport.
do you keep calm under pressure?
That's just, I feel you just need to learn as you grow older. I feel as many matches you can play, you can just handle pressure, stay calm. Because sometimes early I used to just hurriedly play some shots or make some mistakes, but I think it's gotten lot better now with experience.
Mhm. Every athlete out there always has some sort of, certain losses or setbacks. What's one of the biggest losses that affected you?
One of the biggest losses has to be, I think, in my first season, I was really excited about the World Championships, and I was really excited to play in a best of 19 format. And when I played my first match and I lost my first match itself, I was down 7-1 or 7-2 in the first session of the match,
Yeah.
and I lost 10-5 or 10-6. I can't remember properly, but yeah, I think that was one of the matches that really affected me. The end of the first season, and I thought from that point onwards, I thought that you're giving too much importance to
Mm.
this, and when you give too much importance to anything in life and you don't get it or you cannot perform well, I think it affects you too much. So after that point I just thought, just treat every match equally, no matter how big or small it is. And I feel that's what's changed from the first season and in the second season then.
Mm. Makes sense. How does your training sort of, what does your training consist of in terms of when you're playing snooker and you're doing your practicing? How much is it to do with your striking, your safety? Are there any drills that you do, like some people roll all of them up in the middle and practice this screw back and to get their flow going? What tell us some of the stuff that you do.
So I've got some routines that I like to do. One of them is a T-shaped line ball practice. It's like kind of you put four reds on either side of the pink and five reds in between the black and the pink, and two reds under the black on the top cushion, and just clear up with all blacks. And it's kind of a specific routine which you do, and you have to take all blacks with all the reds. So it has to be a 1 for 7 in that, and it's a little bit tougher to do than normally just clearing it up with any of the colors, or just to take reds in order. Also, I like to practice some safety drills sometimes for about 10-15 minutes every day, so that I'm a little bit sharp when it comes to safety in the match as well. And my normal day is playing about 1 hour solo practice just by myself, doing routines and safety and stuff. And the rest 2 or 3 hours playing sparring with somebody, maybe some of the Chinese or Thai players, and just playing a best of 7, 9, 11, depending on what tournament is next and what format that event is.
Do you never get bored playing by yourself?
Sometimes I do, but you have to keep on doing it. I
Do
mean,
you put any music or anything like that in the background? Do you
no,
need
no,
your
no, no,
concentration?
no, no, no. I just think, like, if you're not allowed to do that in the match, then it doesn't help you to do it in practice, because what you do in practice transfers in the match, and you don't want to do. I mean, if supposing you're listening to music in practice and then you don't have that in the match, and you feel there's so much noise around, how do you cope with that? So you need to cope with that in the practice as well.
It's like your exam conditions
Yes, yes, for sure.
has to mimic the same.
Yes, for sure.
Have you ever got a 147?
In practice, yes, 5 times.
Wow,
In practice, yeah, never in a match. My highest break in the match is a 144.
144.
Yeah,
Wow,
I think, and 137 is my highest break in the UK, in like
wow.
in the on the pro tour. So
How does it feel when you make that sort of big break?
Yeah, obviously gives you a lot of confidence. Although it's just one frame, you just even an 80 break will give you the same satisfaction, kind of. Maybe not to the fullest, but in terms of winning a frame, if you make an 80 break or a 147, it doesn't matter. You're just it just counts as one frame. So I don't put a lot of importance to that.
Do you win some money if you get a 147?
Yes, of course, yeah. You get the highest break prize of the tournament, or if there's some other special bonus prize, then you
Okay.
get that as well.
And how much is that normally?
So it actually varies from tournament to tournament. I think the normal highest break price for a 147 in any tournament is about 5 or 10,000 pounds. But in some events, if you there are 4 events in the calendar year, if you make two 147s in those events, then you get 147,000 pounds.
Wow,
So that is huge
that
money.
is big.
That is huge money. Yeah.
What's the biggest arena you can play in? Because one of them were recently closed, right? About a year or two ago. There was a big snooker place that was closed.
So I think the biggest arena I've played in was in Berlin, which was the German Masters.
Right.
So there's an arena called Tempodrome, and I think that's the most beautiful arena I've seen and I've played in, and
Hmm.
that's where I had beaten Luca Brissell.
Right. Okay.
So I kind of got inspired
Hmm.
by seeing the arena and the fans over there.
More about the Crucible.
I haven't been to the Crucible, to be
No,
honest. Yeah, so I would hopefully want to qualify for that
because
the
that's the
next time I
name.
play.
That's the name we normally hear.
Yeah, yeah.
Is you want to play at the
I mean that
Crucible?
that's what affects you a lot. You want to play at the Crucible and you think about the World Championship, and then when you don't perform, it just gets to you,
Hmm.
kind of. So you don't want to be in the pressure of qualifying for it. Just play the game as it comes.
Hmm. I know you say you normally concentrate on your own game. You don't worry about who you're playing. But do you, like, part of your own game? Do you adapt yourself? Would you know that player's got these abilities? Do you adapt in any way, shape, or form?
I mean, some when you like, for my instance, I've almost like been on the tour for almost 2 years now, so I almost know every player's positives and negatives, kind of. But you don't really see that in the match. You just try to play the best you can when you get your chances. But sometimes that this player is good at break building, this player is good at long potting, so you try to avoid giving them the best situations for them.
Hmm.
So most of the time, like 90% of the time, you just focus on your game. But sometimes when the match is getting close, you just keep telling yourself that don't give him an opportunity so that he can finish up easy.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Who do you
it's,
think
it's
is the
just
most dangerous player out there?
I mean, it has to be Ronnie when it comes to sheer snooker. I mean, his match play is second to none, I feel. And when he's playing his best is probably impossible to beat him, kind of.
What do you think of Stephen Hendry?
Yeah, I think he was one of my favorite players when he used to play. I actually didn't watch him at his peak, because I hadn't started playing snooker at that time. So uh, I mean, when he retired is the time when I started playing snooker. So I think after I started playing snooker, I watched some of his old matches back, and he was so aggressive, and he was such a treat to watch when he used to play, because he was one of the players who changed the how snooker was supposed to be played in that era. So
And how was that?
yeah, it was amazing. I mean,
Yeah,
my coach used to actually copy Stephen Hendry a lot
yeah.
in terms of technique, and he's told me himself. And yeah, I mean, it's just amazing that how people used to maybe treat him, and how big Stephen Hendry was at that time.
Big time.
Yeah,
I always remember, I don't know if it was 95, 96, but it was a final. There was Ronnie O'Sullivan versus Stephen Hendry, and they were like the two biggest names,
yeah,
and they couldn't pot the simplest black.
yeah,
It was the longest black game, and we didn't know which way it was going to go. Like,
yeah.
that was pressure.
Yeah, sometimes you get those sort of games because that can be a turning point in a match. So I think every player's every player experiences that
Hmm.
in a
So
match.
so you beat Stuart Bingham twice now as well.
Yeah, I beat him in one of the Chinese event qualifiers. I think it was the World Open qualifier in January last year. Yeah, I think I played really well in that match as well. I had just come back from India, so I was kind of in a good holiday mood and played really well against him.
Yeah. What life lessons has snooker given you? What have you learned from snooker that you can apply to life?
I mean, for me, I feel for me and for other players, other professional snooker players, I feel snooker is one of the toughest uh, sports to play mentally. I mean, it takes a lot out of you.